area. He called the American Championship game victory by the USF Bulls and Coach Brian Hodson. Can USF be a Cinderella in the big dance? We'll talk to Rich Hollenberg, ESPN play-by-play guy, Ray's studio host. We'll talk to him about college basketball. We'll talk to him about Ray's baseball. Oh, by the way, we are T-minus 9 days away from Ray's opening day. Thursday, March the 26th, next week, Rays at St. Louis to open the season. By the way, Chris Mathis, I had a conversation last night with a friend of the program, Ryan Pepio. Oh, he had some interesting things to say.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
The weekly pep talks with Ryan Pepio, ladies and gentlemen, will begin this week. He'll be on Thursday. Now, today, he is facing, you know who he's facing?
The New York Yankees?
The New York Yankees!
Shut up. But we'll talk to him on Thursday. He's excited. He's ready to go. Rays baseball just 9 days away. We'll talk some Rays. There was an interesting story that appeared in the Tampa Bay Times regarding the Rays and their stadium situation. I'm really interested in knowing what that looks like. I'm also interested in knowing what the Trop will look like, folks. And we'll find that out, obviously, Monday, April the 6th, when the Trop is reopened, and we will be there live at Ferg's. I can't wait. We're going to be there from 6 a.m. to first pitch, live from Ferg's. Yes, Eric Neander, and you're welcome to join us Monday, April the 6th.
I can hear you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you can hear us on the all-new 95.7 on the FM dial. And so we can hardly wait for baseball to get up and running. You got the World Baseball Classic tonight. Everyone's going to be watching that, right? Team USA with Nolan McLean on the mound against Venezuela. Boy, oh boy, it's been outstanding to watch the World Baseball Classic. You know, Junior Caminero was the media darling throughout the WBC, and then he was back today for the Rays over in Port Charlotte against the New York Yankees. But baseball, ladies and gentlemen, can you feel it? It's right there. And we'll talk a lot of baseball coming up in a matter of moments because we're going to get into the Rays Stadium situation. Right now, by the way, Yankees lead the Rays 1-0. That game is in the fourth inning. Ryan Pepio gave up a home run. 4 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. You know, he's been pretty good this spring. You know, the home run and the walks is something he's got to clean up. And he knows that. I was telling him last night. And he's like, yeah, he goes, I'm aware. He's been experimenting with some things. He's been trying to incorporate a curveball. You know, we'll throw him a couple of curveballs. I think he's going to join us on Thursday, and you better be ready. Because we like to experiment every once in a while, too, here on this idiot show. Boy,
Thanks,
oh, boy.
man.
No, thank you, Pep. So we'll get into some baseball talk. We'll get into some NFL. You're not going to believe what Jamel Dean, former Buccaneer, had to say about a certain culture that might have existed here when he played here. You're going to hear those comments. Sorry, Todd Bowles, in a matter of moments. But Rich Hollenberg at 3:05. Take it or leave it 3:30. Fill in the blank at 5:30. We're on the air to 6 o'clock. And then Rock Riley, who did yeoman's work filling in for yours truly yesterday, will be on at 6 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, the brackets are out. A lot of you are filling them out. Who is poised to go all the way? Can the Gators repeat? Can USF be a Cinderella in this year's tournament? Are they even considered a Cinderella? Match madness, wall-to-wall coverage. And that is the theme of our opening drive.
Tampa Bay Sports Radio presents the opening drive.
An impressive opening drive.
What an opening drive.
With TKras.
All right, there's a lot going on. Nick Wise did a really good job with Todd Golden, the head coach of your Florida Gators. If you're a Gator fan, they will be here in Tampa Friday night at 9:45. By the way, 95.7 WDAE and AM 620. We are your home for Florida Gators tournament basketball. And the Gators are getting set for a tough matchup against either, Wokadoki State or whatever. Doesn't matter. You know, a bunch of slapdick prospects will be here on Friday night to be the sacrificial lamb. It's Lehigh or Prairie View A&M. Boy, oh boy, that's going to be a tough one. So Lehigh will take on Prairie View A&M. That's one of the playing games for the right to get throttled by the Gators. Friday night, 9:45. You can catch all of the action right here on WDAE. But I really enjoyed that conversation. I like what Coach Golden had to say about the advice that Billy Donovan gave him. Billy Donovan, of course, led the Gators to back-to-back championships almost 20 years ago. My gosh. And now the Gators are poised to repeat history. And Billy Donovan told him, listen, don't worry about defending it. You're not defending anything. You're in the tournament. You got different players. You got a different whole new season. You just have to take it one game at a time. I know it's a tired cliche, but I think, and I watched a game some on Saturday, the Vanderbilt game was a wake-up call, I think, for Golden and the Florida Gators. Because they had won, 12 in a row going into that game? They were playing some great basketball. They were really careless with the ball. I mean, Vandy had 20 points off turnovers in the first half alone against the Gators. The Gators did not play well in that game against Vandy, and they deserve to get beat, plain and simple. But in my humble estimation, I think that game will serve as a wake-up call for this Gator team. And if you look at where they're at, I love their setup. They're in the South region. They're in a favorable draw. They will destroy whoever they play in round one, 9:45 Friday night over at Benchmark International Arena right here in Tampa. Should be a lot of Gators fans there. And then they're in that same bracket as Clemson, Iowa, the 8-9 game, Vandy, Tennessee. I think there's a good chance you may see a rematch between Florida and Vandy. And I think Florida will take care of business. And then on the bottom side, I could see a showdown between the Gators and the Houston Cougars, the number 2 seed. But I love Florida coming out of the South. I've got them in the Final Four, and I'll have my predictions maybe a little bit later on. But I just gave one of them away. I love the Gators, and I love their draw, and I love the fact that, Vandy did trip them up. But that's going to make them a better team, a more focused team, I think, moving forward. Their length, their athleticism in the front court, Chinalu's a beast. Thomas Hach, fantastic. Condon, fantastic. Hand loading coming off the bench. Big guy, block shots. He'll let you know about it, too. It's up to Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee, their guard play. I don't think their guard play is as good as it was last year with Walter Clayton Jr. and the crew. A couple of guys that got drafted into the NBA. But I think their guard play is good enough. But their front court is better than what it was from a year ago, in my estimation. But I love Florida coming out of the South. I think they should be in Indianapolis in the Final Four come early April. The toughest region, as you guys know, because I know you're filling out your bracket, you're trying to figure out who is coming out of the East. Duke is the top seed, and a couple of their guys have some injury question marks attached to them, including Caleb Foster. But holy cow, man, when I saw the bracket unveiled on Sunday evening, and I'm looking at the East, and I'm looking at Duke, and I'm looking at UConn, and I'm looking at St. John's, and I'm looking at Kansas, Michigan State, the 3 seed. You have USF and UCF. All in the same region, that East region, stacked. Incredibly competitive, and by far, it's the most difficult region. It's not close. Speaking of USF, they'll be up in Buffalo Thursday, 1:30 afternoon time. I know Coach Brian Hodson is very excited. He's from that upstate New York area. His dad is going to be able to watch him against Louisville. I think USF's got a lot of momentum. They do. And I really like them against Louisville. Mikael Brown and his status with his lower back of Louisville, their leading scorer, got to keep a close eye on that. But I think USF is set up pretty favorably to maybe pull off an upset there and maybe go on a little bit of a run. You know, you got Michigan State. If they do beat Louisville, Michigan State will likely be their next opponent. That's going to be really tough. You got to take it one game at a time. And in terms of USF, I hope and I think the focus will be on basketball. But I think I brought this up last week. Let me just say this, okay? It's time for some real talk. And the last time we had this conversation, we were talking about, remember the difficult conversation? Here we go, TKras and Mike Evans. When we started to talk about Mike Evans and the difficult conversation, and you know what that turned into, so keep your mouth shut and your ears open. Because you were warned weeks in advance what that could turn into. Here's what I'll say about USF. I think they are on an upward trajectory. The hiring of Rob Higgins as the CEO will have that program catapulted to unprecedented heights. Along with Derek Brooks as COO, I think those two guys have USF pointed in the right direction. The problem with USF is, and I think I see it on social media too, I think a lot of their fans, their super fans, probably have an overinflated view of where the program is at now. I know where they want the program to be at eventually, and I think it's going to take a couple of years, but I think USF can get to a point in time where they could jump into a big conference. Absolutely possible. The hiring of Brian Hartline was incredible. A really big score for Higgins, D. Brooks, and for USF. But the other issue, as we've seen recently, is when you hire really good coaches and they do really, really well, you are in danger of having them plucked by a bigger school with more money. And I hate that we have to have this conversation, but here we are. Brian Hodgson is gaining national headlines for the job that he's done at USF, and justifiably so. Regular season conference winners. They won a postseason conference tournament for the first time since they were in the Sun Belt back in 1990. First conference tournament appearance, first appearance in March Madness, the big dance, since 2012. It's been 14 years. Incredible accomplishment in 1 year. And what you've accomplished, what he's accomplished, okay, in a short period of time, it's going to gain national attention. He's from the upstate New York area. Syracuse just fired Adrian Autry. Syracuse is looking for a coach. And there are rumblings that they've been in contact with Coach Hodgson and his people. Providence just fired their coach. And they've been in contact, reportedly. And these are multiple people, insiders, that are reporting this sort of thing. And I see some USF fans, God bless their hearts, because I think a lot of them are in denial. Oh, USF, you can't tell me that's a better job than Providence. Are you kidding me? Here's real talk, okay? USF is not a better job than Providence. Sorry. Sorry to put this to you. And they're not a better job than Syracuse. Those are two better jobs. And the Syracuse job is an interesting job because it's in upstate New York, as you know, and that's where Coach Hodgson is from. So all these rumors are going to be circulating about. So yesterday, Brian Hodgson met with the media, and he was asked about these rumors that are swirling around regarding potentially Syracuse or Providence. And here's what he had to say. Listen to this.
Did it look like a distraction yesterday? No. Did it look like a distraction on Saturday? No. No, we played great basketball Saturday and Sunday, so there is no distraction. It's great to be wanted. Wanted comes, those opportunities come with success. I'm the head basketball coach at the University of South Florida, and I have a job to do, and that job is not done yet. We're looking forward to an opportunity on Thursday. So, no, I'm glad you asked that question because, the distractions piece. If you watched our game Saturday and Sunday, we weren't distracted.
No, they weren't. And they went out and took care of business. Credit to them, credit to him. But did you hear it? We like to play this game here on the show because a lot of people, you only hear what you want to hear. But did you hear it? He said it's great to be wanted. He just basically told you right then and there, yes, there's been contact. It's great to be wanted. It's great to get that kind of attention. So he didn't deny it. The interest is real. And I'm hoping USF can hold on to him. But again, this is the catch-22 that you have when you're a mid-major. And USF is not there yet with the big boys. And that's what they're trying to do. That's why Rob Higgins was hired. And I think he will get them into a bigger conference. But that's the reality of the situation right now. And it sucks. It really does, because they had a great coach in the late, great Coach Amir Abdur-Rahim. Love wins, by the way. Great quote. I know Coach Hodson was talking about that. By the way, I find it interesting that, the last two teams that Coach Amir was involved with, obviously USF for 1 year, was a great 1 year. And then before that, Kennesaw State. Both USF and Kennesaw State are in the tournament. And Kennesaw State, that's the 3-4 team matchup with Gonzaga in the West region. That could get a little interesting. That's all I'm saying. If I had to pick one mega upset for sentimental reasons with Coach Amir watching from above, I think he's going to watch USF get it done and Kennesaw State with an opportunity with maybe 4 or 5 minutes left against the big, bad Gonzaga team. I think that's something to keep a close eye on. But getting back to USF and Coach Hodson. They beat Louisville on Thursday. Then you're talking about, not a matter of if, but a matter of when. And he's from that upstate New York area. That would certainly mean a lot to him and his dad. We know about his humble upbringing. And I'm rooting for Coach Hodson. And look, if he gets offered one of those jobs, and reportedly, Providence and Syracuse are fighting and jockeying for position in order to see who can put forth the most attractive offer to Coach Hodson. I would hate to see him go, but I think there's a good possibility that it happens, even if USF loses to Louisville. Just prepare for it, embrace for it, and try and enjoy this for what it is at this point in time. 888-388-0957. Text at 82945. I don't want to put a damper on anything, but I'm just here to give you the reality of the situation. And Coach Hodson basically said it. It's great to be wanted. He's basically telling you, yeah, you know what, they're talking to me. He's not going to hide it. Remember Alex Golish? I haven't had time to process it. 12 hours later, he left for Auburn. And look, when you're in that position, what is he supposed to say, too? It's a really tough position for that coach to be in, because Coach Golish knew that he was leaving, and Coach Hodson is being wooed by a couple of different big-time programs, and I think he's going to have to make a decision, and that decision could come in a few days. And for USF, it would be a crushing blow, because you're doing the job in finding these guys, and if they're good, you just can't hold on to them. But we'll talk more about that. Rich Hollenberg will join me coming up at 3 o'clock. We'll talk to him about the tournament. He called the win of USF over Wichita State in the conference championship game of the American. It's very American. We'll talk to Rich Hollenberg coming up at 3 o'clock. Take it or leave it. Fill in the blank a little bit later on. There's so much I want to get into between now and 6 o'clock. So pull up a chair. Join us right here on 95.7 WDAE and AM 620. All right, your calls and texts are coming up. Chris Matheson.
Listening to all the positivity on this WDAE radio show. I love it.
There is a lot of positivity, John. And by the way, we hope to see him maybe tomorrow.
That would be incredible, and it's a possibility without question.
Because we will be out at the Valspar Championship tomorrow. big-time tournament that gets
Do
underway.
a drive-by talking show with
well,
you.
you're going to be driving by if you're playing in that Pro-Am, John, and we will be there tomorrow with a lot of big-time guests hopefully joining us for tomorrow's show from the Valspar at Innisbrook and Palm Harbor, the site of the Valspar Championship, which is in town this week. So many things happening this week. College basketball, Match Madness at Benchmark this week. You know, spring training baseball, kind of winding things down. You got the Valspar this week, spring break. Be careful out there.